Our activity today for the fourth week of the summer library program is to make these handheld Labyrinth plaster molds. Our book this week is called The Wolf, the Duck, and the Mouse, written by Mac Barnett and illustrated by John Clausen. I really like this one. It reminds me of the fable Town Mouse, Country Mouse. I think it has an element of a fairy tale to it and a bit of a quality like a folklore tale also. So watch Miss Jane's reading and see what you think. I just wanted to share with you that we got 80 pounds of sand for this project for $5 at Bradley's, and we bought the plaster online and it was $7 a carton, and I bet you Isaacs would have some of this also. There are some precautions with the plaster, and I have that inside of your bag, and I hope you will review this before you get started. It is a fine powder, so when you dump it into your bowl, put it away from your face because you don't want to breathe it in. Don't put the wet plaster on your skin, and after you're done, wash your hands so that you don't get the plaster and accidentally rub your eyes and get the plaster in your eyes because it can be irritating. Miss Jane has prepared all of the bags for the whole summer library program, and she even today for this project cut out the little pattern we're going to use for our labyrinth because it's a little bit fiddly. This project is a little bit fiddly, and if this does not work for you, just pull that wet piece of paper out of your sand and make whatever pattern you like. The labyrinth is just a suggestion. So I have my area ready. It's a good idea whenever you are going to do a project, or whenever you're cooking and you have a recipe, to read the recipe all the way through so that you have all of your supplies out and you know what to be ready for. I have my water right here. I won't use it all, but then I won't have to run to the tap either. I have my tin on this shelf so that I can move it because it's going to be wet for about half an hour. So if you lift it, this one's nice and dry, but if you lift it, you're going to misshapen your sand. So let's get started. I have my sand in my tin. I'm going to put my tin right here and dump my sand into my tin. Okay, and now we're just going to slowly add water so that we don't add too much. Just a little bit at a time, because you just want it to hold its shape, but you don't want it to be too soggy. Okay, I'm going to wait right there and stir it up, and I can see that it's still wet down in there. I'm going to hold it in my hand. Okay. Hey, that was just about enough. So a good way to see if you've got enough water is, okay, we're going to smash this all down. And if you have enough water, and it's not too dry, when you put your finger in there, it's going to hold its shape. But if you have too much water, and you put your finger in there, and the water pools in the bottom, then you've got too much water. And if you've got too much water, you can take a paper towel and just soak it out of there. And then it'll be all right. So I'm going to kind of smooth this out. Okay, so now I've got a nice surface to put this little bit, the labyrinth pattern on top here. Okay, now I'm going to take the back end of my spoon and I'm just going to start going around, and I'm going to push that black line down into the sand. I'm kind of holding it. So just take your time. Like I said, if this just doesn't work for you, just do something else. Do another pattern. You can draw something and come back to this. The sand is fine. The plaster does get set really pretty quickly, so we just do that last. We don't prep that. I'm just going to push it down in there, back of my spoon, to make the moat, to make it like a moat. But when we put in the plaster, it's going to be opposite. So that's something to think about also. So if you're writing letters, it might come out backwards. Okay, so these labyrinths, maybe you have seen one at a park or at a church, and they're might be quite big, and it's called a walking labyrinth, and they're really good for quiet reflection, to go out there and walk the path of the labyrinth. And I think that's why I like these little ones also, but we would be running our finger through them, and it just takes as long as it takes to get to the center and then to go back out. Just like that. Okay. And if I get in a hurry, then I know from practicing that everything just takes as long as it takes. Sometimes it just takes a little while to get something done or something to happen. Okay, I've just about got this. Okay, and sometimes it just takes you a couple of tries to get it the way you would like to get it. So, I hope you have fun with this, and if it just doesn't work for you, just try a different thing. Okay, I think this is good. I'm going to go ahead and pull this out of there. Great, I think it looks great. And I'm going to move it aside, and I'm going to work with my plaster now. Okay. So I've got this, and I'm going to just put my face back a little bit and dump it over here. And somebody out the door over there. Hopefully we can do it. Okay, so what we've got here is it's 2 parts plaster and 1 part water. So this portion cup is what you will use to measure your water. And I'm just going to dip one in there full and pour it in here with my plaster, keeping my face back. And I'm going to stir this until it's nice and smooth. You can see the puffy smoke from the plaster, just the fine powder in the air. Just going to mix it up like pancake mix, but I want it nice and smooth. No lumps. And then I will just spoon it on top, and rather than pouring it so I don't disturb my paths and my sand. Just about have it nice and smooth. Mix in all the liquidy bits with the thicker parts. Okay. There we go, I've got it. Okay. I'm just going to start right here in the middle and just spoon it in. Okay, just go around, just spoon it in there. I'm going to smooth out the top a little bit. And go ahead and just fill it all the way up. Cover up all the sand. I can't wait to reveal this one. I haven't seen it yet, that I made yesterday. Okay, so that's how it is done. And this needs to set for at least half an hour. Or 1 hour, and you can actually remove it from the mold, but it will be very, very, not soft, but you'll be able to tell that it's very moist. The water is coming out of it. So you still need to let it dry for a whole nother hour. Let's see if I can get this one out. Okay, see how I did yesterday. Okay, then I can just start like pushing that sand out of there. Oh yes, isn't that neat? Oh my goodness. Oh yes, there you go. Okay, and I just keep working at it to remove all of the sand out of those grooves as much as I choose to remove it. And you could paint this with a little bit of, you could cover it with maybe a clear spray paint and seal in the plaster a little bit, because it's still a little bit powdery on the back, so there you can kind of see that it still kind of comes off as a little bit of a powder on there. So there you have it, little labyrinth molds. I hope you enjoyed it and have a good week.